In the first reading today from 2 Timothy, Paul says, God did not give us a spirit of cowardice, but rather a spirit of power and of love and of discipline. Now, the truth is that every child of God is powerful in some way. Every child of God has been endowed with some kind of power. A Christian might say, oh, I'm humble. I don't see myself as having power. I'm just a good for nothing. Listen, humility is truth. And the truth is our God is a God of infinite power. He's all powerful, and He made us in His image. And so there's something of the power of God in us. We image that power. Every child of God has been endowed with the power of God in some way. And we need to discover the power within us. Now this power, again, it's power that comes from God. It's kind of like the power of a sailboat. If you had a sailboat and under the power of the wind, it can just carry heavy weight and plow through the waves and go long distances. It's a powerful sailboat, but it relies on the Spirit, on the wind. But again, every one of us has been endowed with power from the Lord, and we need to discover it. Now, Paul says, but rather a spirit of power and of love and of self-discipline. I want to say a word about self-discipline. When I was in the seminary, those were the good old days when I had kind of weeks off during the summer. I had 6 weeks off, and I was staying home with my mom and dad. And I had this idea of a novel. A story. I had this brilliant story. It was all in my brain. It was all in my head. And I knew the layout, the structure. And I said to myself, you know what? This summer, I'm writing it down. And I didn't care. Like, it didn't have to be a finished product. I said, even if I can have kind of a first draft, and it doesn't have to be long, like just, I don't know what, 20, 30, 40 pages. And the thing is I was in the seminary. I was cranking out essays like it was going out of style. I knew I could write dozens of pages. I knew I could do that. And I had 6 weeks, all the time in the world. And I kind of tried, but it was a complete failure. Never even got the draft of the book written. And I was kind of, embarrassed, frustrated, with myself, and just thinking like what's wrong with me? Like this goal, it's not that complicated. And again, and especially all the free time in the world, tons of free time. And I recognized that what I lacked, it wasn't the idea, it wasn't the free time or even the resources, whatever. I had a pen and paper or a computer. What I lacked was discipline. It takes a lot of discipline to apply yourself in your free time to writing something down, And for me, it was kind of a defining kind of moment or a defining teaching from the Lord, because I really felt the Lord saying to me, as I kind of wrestled and kind of pondered how pathetic I was, I kind of felt the Lord saying to me, listen, Mark, you have a lot of dreams inside of you, beautiful dreams. You dream of doing wonderful things. If you want to realize these dreams, you need to discipline yourself. You need to learn self-discipline. Otherwise, your dreams, most of them, they're not going to happen. And I really took it as a challenge. And I, kind of thought of the analogy. Say you have a kid in high school who's good at swimming. As a matter of fact, he's so good at swimming, he wins every single race effortlessly in his area. Effortlessly. Wins every race. Doesn't train, doesn't do anything, just hops in the pool, beats everyone. And everyone recognizes you could be an Olympic gold medalist. And it's true. But for a kid in high school who's a phenomenal swimmer, to get to a gold medal Olympic level, he's gonna have to discipline himself. At that level, you have to train rigorously, you gotta work on your diet. Like there's a certain kind of discipline that unless you're willing to embrace that, not gonna happen. And I think for every one of us, we need to if we want to fulfill the dreams God has for us, we need to be willing to apply ourselves. And we see this in the Great Commandment. You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your mind, with all your soul, and with all your strength. You know, we need to put all of our effort. And again, like my example of having a nice idea for a novel, well, that's in my mind. And it's in my heart. You know, I've got the heart for it, I got the mind for it. But you gotta put all of your strength into it too. And I just think, especially in our time, you know, for our young people, we know that our young people, they're bestowed God-given power to do great, wonderful things, and they have dreams in their hearts. And that's why I find it so tragic that there's so many pot shops all over the place. You know, like a young person is going to have to make a decision, like what do I want to do with my life? What are my dreams? What are my, you know, potentials? And just kind of make a decision. Like, when I turn 18, am I going to start going to the pot shops? Or am I going to kind of fight the fight that I need to fight to live the dreams? I'll give you another example. When I was teenager, all of my buddies, we all wanted dirt bikes, you know, off-road motorcycles. And all of us, our parents, they could barely pay the bills and buy groceries and pay the mortgage. So it was like, if you want a dirt bike, guess what you got to do? You got to get a job. A teenager, get a job, you know? And some of my friends, their parents actually did have a bit of money, but I think the parents were thinking, I'm not going to buy you a motorcycle, you can't kill yourself. You want a motorcycle, buy it yourself, you know? But the point is again, the dream. And we got motorcycles, we got jobs, we got motorcycles. We had so much fun with those motorcycles, but guess what? We had to work our butts off. I worked on a farm all summer. So work started at 8 a.m. School starts at 9 a.m. I'm on my summer vacation, I'm starting work at 8 a.m. Thing is, you want a motorcycle, get your butt out of bed, go to work, and earn enough money to buy a motorcycle, you know? And again, I hope I'm not kind of getting too intense on you this morning, but I do believe, you know, we have dreams in our hearts, but are we willing to fight for them? Because God is also, He made us fighters. You know, Scripture says our God is a mighty warrior. Every one of us is made to be a fighter. So are we willing to fight for them? But also, are we willing to not care what other people think? Because if you want to do something great, you're going to fail. And it's interesting, as I was thinking about this morning, I've always looked back on that summer where I tried to write the novel, and I've always been embarrassed by it because I failed. But just this morning, I said, well, wait a minute. That was a good failure. I tried. I failed. I got a wake-up call. It changed my life. Thank God I tried to write a novel that summer. I tried. I remember going camping with my brother, and I was, you know, here writing in a notebook. I tried. I failed, but it changed my life. And again, that's humility. Some people, they're not willing to try something because they know they might fail, and they'll look stupid. And people, whatever, laugh at them or whatever, too bad. Are you willing to fight? And are you willing to not care what other people think? Are you willing to fail? Because again, our God is a God of infinite power, and He has bestowed that power into each one of us.